Right, stand by. Roll sound.
Speed.
Roll camera.
Speeding.
Slate.
Scene one, take one, mark.
And action. Hey everybody, how you doing? 2 p.m. Friday, it's got to be Burnie's Applebox. And we got a great, very interesting show today with my guest, Matthew Lavin. Hey. Matthew, thanks for being here today, buddy.
My pleasure.
All right. And you know, this is a little different because usually I'm telling, I've been old friends with this. I met Matthew literally first time we met at NAB.
Yeah.
We did meet at NAB, but I saw him again 15 minutes before this moment. So we talked, we sat down, and Matthew is, give us the name of your company.
My company is called Aerography.
Aerography, okay. And you, among many other things, do droning.
Yeah, I'm an aerial cinematographer.
Okay.
We are primarily using drones these days, although we're still flying helicopters and Cineflex systems for those jobs that can't support the drone logistics.
Okay, so I did not know that. You do fly the bigger units as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That's great. And you're from San Francisco, am I correct?
Yeah, actually, I
Bay Area.
I work up and down the Bay Area.
Yeah.
But I live in Santa Cruz, California.
Okay.
Love to skate and surf, and it's nice to drive home to the beach.
Yeah, no kidding. Not a bad place to live.
That's right.
Yeah, not bad at all. You know, we were talking earlier, just a few minutes before the show too, and I know what I always try to do here, Matthew, is to talk to people about how they started, because I think it's so important. I think it has so much influence to where you end up and your view of the industry too. So tell us, where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Chicago.
Okay.
In the city. Stayed there until I went to college, and I went to college in Boston.
Okay.
To Emerson College.
All right.
I'm sure there's a lot of alum out here in LA. And then I moved to the Alphabet City in New York City back in the mid-90s.
Wow. And how about the first time you were on set? How'd you get on set?
Yeah, you know, I was not even in high school. I think I was about 14, 15 years old. My uncle was working in the corporate video business.
Okay.
And it was summertime, and it was time to work.
We needed a PA. Hey, I've got a nephew. I've heard that plenty of times.
That's too. Right. And I was hungry. I always loved the process, the massive collaboration that would take place to create the small little golden element. And that was very exciting to me to be a part of that hyper-focal energy that all has to then get narrowed down.
So, you liked working with a group, right? You
loved it.
Yeah, that appealed to you and your personality and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I truly believe that collaboration is the key to success these days moving forward, and I really was feeling that when I was young as well. I loved working with my hands, and I was very cerebral. So this industry asks a lot of you.
Absolutely.
If you can give it. You know, not everyone has it, and so they find those roles and maintain. But it was very exciting to me to involve the technical aspect, creative and logistic, and put that all in a collaborative effort to get the gold.
Yes, and you know what, I've always been very fond of saying this is a personality business, because I think you find your role in this business based on your personality and your value system. Like just what you said, working with a group and working with a team, that's actually also very, very important to me. I really enjoy that, you know, and I'm sure that's right. I'm not an editor. I don't want to sit in a room and do that all the time, you know what I mean? Although it's very collaborative as well. But being with a team, being out there, and I think too, and you brought up hyper-focused, you know, on that. I do like that, because I know when I'm on set, a lot of times what I feel is just like nothing else matters. Everything else is gone. We're just right here, right now, working on this project.
It's funny. That's the way the actor works as well. You know, the specificity, the focus creates the ease and the fluidity that we have to entertain when we're on set and having to be in the moment. Obviously, we plan and plan and plan so that that happy accident could occur.
Yes.
You know, it's oftentimes the magic comes out of the moment that's unexpected, but you only get that moment of unexpectedness when you have filled in all the box of expectations.
Exactly. When you allow that place to happen, right?
And certainly, and that's one of the things that I'll instruct and teach about specifically with aerials, which is a very logistical kind of cinematography, more so than what many producers and directors think. But when all of the logistics are taken care of, the day of the shoot should be the easiest day. That should be the cathartic moment where it just happens.
Yeah.
And I've worked many jobs across this industry, you know, from cinema to photography and commercial photography as well. And it maintains the same respect for that that kind of philosophy when you put all the time in, all the work, and not be afraid to ask the questions which may get pushback. You ultimately create an environment to have the safe space to be vulnerable.
Right.
And on the crew, you know, is a crew vulnerable? They need to be, because we have to be willing to be told no, change it, even though you thought it was right, and and letting go of the ego. And so when we let go of our ego, you know, it helps to maintain some of that vulnerability.
Right, for the group to go and finish the project.
Don't take this personally. How many times have you guys heard that? Don't take it personally. Just work faster.
Well, you know what, I'll tell you, and that really does, because you know, in this business, you know, you have to have somewhat of you can't be offended by the workflow and where people's emotions are at the different times. Anybody on set could be under a lot of pressure for something one time. If they seem short of this, because they're hyper-focused on it, you don't take that away from the set. You let it lay there, and if you've got to straighten out your priorities with them, then you do so, but you do it in a nice way, and never let your ego or anger come out on set. And I think because this is it's about who you want to spend 10 hours with, right?
It's 10 hours for, you know, 100 days.
Yeah, right, right.
That the family better be, you know, pretty
It better
tight.
be pretty together.
And we all know we've worked with those close brothers, and those sets are much more fun and manageable.
Right.
Especially when you're in the shit.
Yeah.
And the weeds are always there. We just have to cut them.
You
I mean,
just
that's
have
part
to cut
of,
them.
you know,
Just get them out of the way. Just get them out of the way.
Keep moving.
So tell me now, we're going to talk about you know, the drones and flight, but what I know you do other things. So how did you intersect? Now, did you go to a school? Did you go to college, study film, or?
Yeah, I went to college and I got a fine arts degree.
Okay.
And was working as an actor.
Oh.
In New York City for a handful of years.
Okay.
And during that process, as I was exploring a lot of different kinds of performance at that time, I had learned the art of puppetry.
Okay.
And actually became a master puppeteer.
Okay.
In New York City, and worked with Disney and Jim Henson Productions.
Oh my gosh.
Along with our own adult puppet theater, which had traveled all around the world and won several awards.
Oh, that's so cool. How did you intersect that? How did that happen?
You know, I was always uber interested in visual theater.
Yeah.
It was I was in college in the early 90s. There was definitely a shift happening in entertainment. And to be honest, I saw a off-Broadway show called The Blue Man Group, which is now international. And it was life-changing for me because of how it was processing what was happening in our culture and society at that time. And it really changed my perspective and what could be done in a live theatrical element. That interest expanded what I thought I could do as an entertainer as well. The puppetry came because I had a good friend in Boston, and he was a brilliant puppet artist. And we connected philosophically, started playing music together and hanging out and building these beautiful living sculptures. We used all found and recycled objects.
Wow.
The trash picking in New York City was amazing back then. And we told these allegorical tales and had a storefront theater. It sat 25 people. It was the smallest theater in New York City. It was down in the East Village.
Wow.
Back when it was still Alphabet City.
So 25 people, you got a full house.
Full house. You know, and that's not counting the riffraff,
Yeah.
the drug dealers, the prostitutes. I mean, this was, you know, early 90s
right.
in Alphabet City. It hadn't quite gone through the gentrification.
Yeah.
The exploration into that world as a performer got me to realize more of my abilities to create with my hands, and to dive deeper into the home brew of solving problems. You know, we need lights, we need dimmers, we need, and of course, when you are a struggling theater artist, a puppeteer, there's not a lot of money at that point, so we had to be very resourceful, which really means very creative.
Right.
That taught me a lot about efficiency and how to get the most bang for your buck.
Now, when you, Disney and Jim Henson, I mean, you're kind of around the top of the market at that time. Who was it that was able to bring you into that world?
You know, many of the puppeteers I met in New York were brilliant puppeteers, but they weren't brilliant actors. And a lot of the work that at that time that was coming out for the adult puppetry community was asking a lot of the actor. And I came from a heavy acting background and then brought in the skill of puppetry. So my puppet performances were getting recognized to have this quality to them that was a much more magical experience, because the belief in that character's evolution, even though it was an inanimate object, the power of the actor is to take the inanimate and animate it. And puppets their expressions don't change.
Yeah.
But a brilliant actor and puppeteer can make the audience believe that the expression does change. And that was extraordinarily powerful for me.
Wow.
To affect, to change, to affect. And that has always been driving me as an artist and technician through my whole tenure, is to affect and create and to continue to reinvent. We talked a little bit about not being afraid to wake up in the morning and completely reinvent yourself. Never be afraid to do that.
In fact, that's a survival technique in this business.
It is. You know, the minute you put the blinders on, you may not see the gift coming right
So
by
well
you.
put.
You know,
So well put.
And that's something that I actually had experienced a lot, transitioning from a performance-based career to now graduating into a heavy technologically based operation on many different levels, as now we are not only carrying cinema cameras and that expertise, but all the aviation and electrical and mechanical engineering that go along with it.
And lighting, too, which is something
Yes.
I'm going to definitely delve into.
Yes,
with you.
as we move deeper into what drones can do,
Yeah.
we've started to explore lighting elements for cinema, which
Yeah.
is something that we can
that's
get to.
that's very exciting. I find what you're doing. So let me ask you this, and you worked with Jim Henson, the company, obviously.
I didn't work with Jim.
Yes.
Although his family and his
Yes.
wife, but Jim Henson Productions, I had more of a play with the animatronic. And that actually was a transition for me. That was really a base for me to start to understand automation
Yeah.
and remote actuation, which
Okay.
is now something that the drone is. And to kind of connect the two, the drone for me when I fly it is just a puppet.
Interesting.
And so, and once again, this is what our company has been getting some recognition for, is that we're not technicians or just technicians.
Yeah.
We're choreographers, aerial choreographers, and not just flying the camera, but emoting with the ship that's flying the camera.
You know, that is so, I think, that's really profound, because I'll tell you, there's something with a piece of equipment, you know what I mean? And it's like a Steadicam, probably.
Yeah.
I'll make an analogy there, because that camera, when it's on that operator, it is alive.
Yeah.
It is not just going from point A to point B and following the action or leading the action. It's actually taking you somewhere. You know what I mean? And I'm just thinking of like I don't know, it was St. Elsewhere when they used those big long openings.
yeah.
I mean, you were there. That really brought you into that emotion of the action. You
Yeah.
know, it's so interesting for me to hear you say that about drones, because I feel like, you know, okay, we can do the big shot, we can do the aerial shot, we do that. But after you do all that, and just anybody can send the drone up almost now,
Yeah.
they're so automated,
Yeah.
you know, to get that shot. It is about that artistic instinct, you
That,
know, and telling the story.
Yeah, it's not just a tool.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, the hammer is worthless
Right.
without
But
the
the
nail.
technician
well,
and the
hammer,
nail.
the nail,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
thing to nail.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just you know, we find meaning through relationships. Right?
Yes, yes,
So the hammer's nothing,
absolutely.
but the hammer and the nail mean something.
Absolutely.
The drone is worthless without the pilot.
Right. It's interesting. So you look at the drone now as an inanimate object that can be animated, and you animate it to tell that story. You look at it as a puppet.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
every drone crew has its way of operating, or at least they should. And that's something that new producers working with drone crews for the first time really need to ask the appropriate questions to make sure that they're really hiring professionals and not just a company that invested $50,000 in calling themselves professionals, because we're in such a young part of this industry that it's very difficult to understand who
The
has
wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? Yeah.
and
You know, this gives me an opportunity, gives you something to say. I'm so glad you brought that up. And I hate to put you on the spot, and you know, you don't have to have a great list, but what should a producer ask a drone operator? Say when he's called 2 or 3 people. Right. What are the questions that he's going to be able to define a good drone operator with?
Sure. I think it's important to ask how many hours you have flown. It should give you an idea of the experience. If the company says, I can't tell you, then you know that they're not logging all of their operations appropriately, and that should be a red flag. They should ask about equipment, and not just can you shoot 4K. Obviously there's so many kinds of 4K available, and it's important to utilize the expertise and ask the right questions. As a pilot, I'm also the DP.
Right.
So I place the camera. Now in my team, we work very closely together. 2 is 1. It kind of goes back to the puppet world. I worked in a Japanese puppet style called bunraku, and it took 3 puppeteers to operate 1 puppet.
I know, how was that pronounced again?
Bunraku.
Bunraku.
Yeah, BUNRAKU.
Okay.
Ancient Japanese puppet
Okay.
tradition.
And are these the larger ones that are operated?
Actually, they're operated. There's a few different ways of operating, but the way it's split up is that one puppeteer, the master, would be responsible for the head and the right arm.
Okay.
And then the second would be responsible for the body and the left arm, and then the third would be the feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it could take you 45 years to go from feet to head.
Wow.
I mean,
That's how important it is.
It's a very specific tradition.
So the analogy then to drone operating is that it's not just one guy up there with the controls doing it. There's people that are
exactly. So the operations, there can be a single operator, a dual operator, a triple, maybe even four if you want to pull focus and do it. And so, as I think producers want to discuss with the DP about DP specific things and not just drone specific things.
Yes.
That's a good way to know how.
So you should not only explore the technical, how many hours you have and what kind of equipment you're using, but where are you as a storyteller and from a DP standpoint?
Yeah, not every project requires it. As we had just talked about, high and wide is. High and wide used to be $1 million shot.
Yeah.
But now every single television show has a high and wide, and
every cable program has one. Yeah.
Getting kind of boring, boring now. But it's important to explore the creative aspect along with the technical aspect, and then there is the operational logistic aspect, and this is something that guys with on-set experience will excel at, and guys that don't have it could lead you down a horrible road.
Yeah. Give me an example of that.
Do you come with backup? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, most DPs, if not all, have a backup system, and not in order to not jeopardize the larger investment of $8,000 to $80,000 an hour, as we know in Hollywood.
Right.
So it costs a lot of money to have, to be two as one. And in Hollywood, we know, one is none.
Yeah, right.
So money shouldn't be a factor, but it's as we know, to be a photographer, in my day, it was like you have to have a trust fund to be a photographer.
Yeah.
It's so equipment heavy in the return. But backup systems, backup cameras, all these questions, so that just in case, there's at least a solution and not just a now what, and trying to figure out a solution on set and you're already going to lose. What are the previous projects? What kind of if you're trying to gauge whether they know where you're going, have you worked on a $6 million feature or a 20?
Right.
Do you understand?
And you would expect them to have probably a reel that you can look at.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, in these days, if you are a visual artist, you have to show your work. A reel is essential. We all know that as creatives, we're being judged not only on our quality of work, but also our websites.
Oh.
If you're a
on your social media.
So, hey, you're a visual creative guy, but your website's a few years old.
Yeah.
Something's not right.
Yeah.
Now, my website could use some updating, but when you're working, it's hard to and we all have to wear so many hats these days.
We all have the areas where we know we had better be working. You know what, Matthew? We're going to take just a break right here for a minute, and we will be right back. Hi, I'm Burnie. I own Burnie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. We pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No, we present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. Hey everybody, back with Burnie's Applebox and Matthew Lavin.
Hey.
Thanks a lot, Matthew. Matthew was just telling us about, and this is so important, we were talking about the evolution of the shot, the drone shot, which high and wide used to be the $1 million shot. And Matthew was talking about with us on how you might want to vet a drone operator and, questions that you can ask them. And in all honesty, it was specific to the drone, but it's probably something that any good producer will ask any member of the team, whether they're gaffer, DP, or anything like that.
And that word, good producer.
Yeah.
What happens is you have longtime vets in the industry
Sure.
having to talk to very green producers that don't know the right questions to ask. And I was always taught, when I was being taught on how to produce, was your only job is to save the client from themselves. So by not
I like that.
So by not discussing these things, you're not ensuring you're going to get the job.
Yeah.
I'd rather say no to a job than come out and get rolled, or come out and get shut down
Oh,
and blamed,
please,
or come out and not get paid, or I can't. It goes on and on and on, and you're not. And somebody in this industry, there's always somebody going to get rolled under the bus.
Absolutely.
And you might even be told by the producer, "I'm going to have to roll you under the bus on this one, but I'll take care of you next time."
Yeah.
And we kind of know how things need to roll in any event. The most difficult jobs are those jobs, hands down. Not a lot of money, not a lot of drone experience. And so it puts a lot more work into our pre-pro and aerial coordination.
Yeah.
We spend an inordinate amount of time, I do, to aerial coordinate and pre-pro on the jobs. I bring up every single detail, not because it will happen, but because there is the odds that it can. And I always tell people, protocol is for the one time that it saves your ass.
Yeah.
You're not wasting your time checking the gate, reviewing your footage, because the one time that there's an issue, the 10 years of no problem, it's worth it all.
Yeah.
And aviation is a triple check kind of world. Cinema is that kind of
Absolutely.
philosophy as well.
Yeah.
Check, recheck. And that's what allows us to operate in one of the highest risk industries around. We do some of the most dangerous things in industry.
Production is a disaster that goes right occasionally. It really, you have to look at it from that point of view. And you talked about bringing the equipment, you know what I mean? I'm in the same boat. When I come out with one of my trucks, no one else in the whole world is going to bring out what I'm bringing out. There's not going to be an extra of something there, and it's the same with you.
Do you charge them for the extra, or is it your?
No.
This is what I use to work, and I talked about this with producers. Look, if you need budget efficiencies, don't go run to another operator. Come talk to me. I'm interested in your project, and I don't want anybody's. Anytime a drone does something bad on a set, it comes back to every drone operator.
Oh, yes, you're all guilty.
You're all guilty. Everybody's wondering when you're going to crash.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say that our company has been 100% compliant with zero incident in all the years.
That's so awesome.
It's funny because there are producers that work for networks that I've talked to at conferences that have told me direct they don't want to hire a drone operator unless they've told her that they have crashed. Because she can't believe that a drone operator, cinematographer wouldn't crash. And I'm like scratching my head and I'm going, God, who have you worked with?
Yeah.
Who have you worked with? Because this would be unacceptable in aviation.
Yeah.
And we're flying my craft is 40 pounds.
You're an aviator.
Yeah, we're treated like aviators. We are licensed by the FAA. We read the same charts. We're studying the same ground school, and so that culture exists. So drone ops are looking for a culture. I said, stop looking. It's there. Aviation.
Yeah.
And an ethical way of operating.
Right.
Ethical operations are a question mark amongst many industries. There's a lot of nefarious, unethical work going out there.
Yeah.
I choose to operate very ethically and let that drive how we manage our clients.
Sure. And that's the formula for longevity too.
Yeah.
You know, because getting a reputation, even slightly in this industry, is going to follow you around forever. You know, knowing to be a straight player and doing that is everything.
Yeah, you know, state parks have been very prohibitive to fly in at times. We're asked to fly with short notice at times.
How do you tell a producer, no, can't do it?
Gosh, man, I've done it so many times. The way I've done it is, you know, it always comes back to risk, safety. You wouldn't risk that with any other piece of your crew. We can't take that risk either.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to stand up to a producer and say your case. You might get, you know, you might not come back the next day, but you can go home and say, I'm operating ethically.
Yeah.
I'll sleep at night. I may not have a few extra $1,000s in the account, but I'd rather sleep.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
You know, when you're
well, and it's like anything else. Once you cross one line, suddenly the next one doesn't seem so far away. You know, and I think that's really the important thing about it. But sometimes you do just have to have those unpleasant conversations that just say, look, I can't do that.
You know, it's funny that every time I've said no, within 30 minutes, the reason comes shooting into their face. Why?
Yeah.
For instance, we were doing a job for Airstream, and they were jumped from the location they had, and then they were moving to locations they didn't have. It started to be, you know, we want Airstream down the road. So I understand we want to go down the road, but where are we working from? This is something that always has to be understood where, for the drone team, is that we take care of the top down. Airspace, all the aviation stuff. Production's responsibility is from the ground up.
Okay.
And I try to explain, look, where we stand to operate, where we have Video Village, where the director is, that's not my responsibility. That really has to be yours, because you're the production element. Those are your people. We're working, you know, on your production, and I'm not coming into the job to do locations.
Yeah.
Now, granted, producers want to talk to operators who know their environment. And as a drone team and drone op, I always teach, the first thing you need to know is your environment. What's your local environment? Know everything about it. The weather, the best time, because that's why somebody's going to come to you in a smaller market.
Absolutely.
You know, and even for us, they want to shoot coast, they want to shoot surf. You know, where? Well, it's tough because we have the protected Monterey Bay Sanctuary. We have you know, various state parks and national parks, and so when you have solutions for production, that goes a long way.
Yeah. So a lot of times when you'll do that, you'll go out and you'll be finding, you're giving production the best, you'll tell them what you need to make it work.
Yeah. I always say, this is what we need. They say, we're coming from New York. Okay. So this is where we've worked. This is where I've had success before. This is where we've had success 50%. This is where, you know, on a weekend maybe really gnarly, on a weekday. So
and like all of us, I'm sure you see the same popular locations, popular shots.
Sure.
I mean, you're sort of knowing where they're going before they verbalize.
Yeah, I mean, car teams in LA know where cars are shot.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, they're coming up north more now
Oh,
because so much
absolutely.
has been overshot. And,
Yeah.
so
And it's more beautiful up
it's
there,
it's
just
yeah,
flat out.
yeah, it's
you
it's
know.
awesome. And when we've had to we've traveled. We were traveling nationally much more a few years ago.
Yeah.
Industry's changing now.
And so the reason you're not is because more drone operators
there's
are out there, right?
In the beginning, we were one of 30 companies that
Okay.
had insurance,
Oh, yes.
which is another thing.
Yes.
Had insurance and had the chops as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So
What, if you don't mind, what's insurance cost you?
insurance, it depends. Just the liability, the aviation liability for $1 million, under $1,000.
A year?
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
for one drone.
That surprises me.
But that's just the liability. Many people are insuring their equipment as well. They call it in aviation hull insurance. There's different philosophies on insurance and
Right.
when you should insure your equipment and when you shouldn't. And I have my own philosophy about self-insuring and what have you. When we start going up into $2 million, $5 million, $10 million kind of jobs, clearly insurance goes up
Yeah.
accordingly. 2, 3, 4, 5 grand
Yeah.
for a year. But to carry 5 mil, can cost that. Not every job needs 5 million.
Yeah.
But if you want to work in the LA Coliseum, it does. If you want
That's sure. Absolutely.
and of course there's different solutions. The hard thing with the drone is that the liability insurance covers the drone, that drone.
Oh.
So if you have a stable, you are now paying 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million.
Got you.
So it can quickly
Rise.
yeah. And then you're sitting with millions of dollars of insurance on these drones, and then only one is flying
At a time.
At a time.
Yeah.
Or some so you can get caught.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
quick.
You know what? I think we should probably let's go to the reel. We've been
Yeah.
going too long. We yakking
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I
Let's
usually
see
do.
some
But
pictures.
yeah, let's take a look at it. And what we're going to do here is we're going to show it without sound because we've got Facebook issues with audio. We don't want to get shut down. So we're going to watch it all the way through, and then we'll come back and we'll go picture in picture, and we'll take apart a
Yeah.
few pieces, and
Sounds
you can
good.
tell us about them.
Great.
Awesome. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome, man. Very, very nice
Thanks, man.
work. Very nice work. Let's, Sean, let's take this again. Let's start showing it. Keep us live. Put us picture in picture, and then we'll talk about each one. I may have you pause, Sean.
Yeah, you can stop right here for a
Go
second.
ahead. Stop.
This was part of a Victoria's Secret shoot.
Okay. That's tough. I'm so sorry.
You know, people ask me, why would you want to shoot the San Francisco Giants when you can shoot Victoria's Secret? I'm like, well, the Giants are kind of Victoria's Secret of the baseball world. I don't know. This was a tough job. We were down in the Maldives in St. Bart's, on location, cross-continental travel, tons of equipment. And so sunrise shoot here, we're flying an octocopter with Movi M15, Canon C300, and CP2 lenses.
Okay, so you had a C300 on there.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. We were brought down. This was supposed to be a beauty shoot. You can actually kind of roll a little bit more. And that's
Same
it's part
place?
of the harbor.
Okay.
So when we originally, and you can just pause after this one. When we were originally talking to production, we were talking to the DPs and the production company, huge, done and dusted, did the Super Bowls. They brilliant cinematographers, and it just beauty. So we said, okay, we're coming in with the C300. We're going to come in with the CP lenses, and when we got there, then we start to see what really the element is in. There's a 300-person crew. The budget was upwards of $12 million.
Wow.
We had the entire island, and it was to shoot not only their campaign, their photo campaign for 17 and catalog, but also documentary and their hour-long CBS swimsuit special.
Oh, wow. That's a huge production.
And not to mention 2 live concerts, Nick Jonas performing in one area one night and Demi Lovato in another area another night. So we have so amongst that celebrity talent, each one of these angels is a $25 million model.
Yeah.
And so we, every time we would show up to a shoot, and actually there's a photo of,
We'll probably stay on this video right now.
every time we would show up, we were getting kicked out. So even though we were part of the crew, it was
like, you're not authorized on this set.
No, we need the photographer. Well, it was actually there were so many elements.
Political elements.
We need to shoot this. There's not time for that. So there was lots of humping, lots of setting up, lots of not shooting.
Yeah.
We were working in, we had a fixer, we were working in France, we had to work under French aviation rules as opposed to FAA rules. There was a lot of logistics that went into all of those rules and how to get it all done.
Yeah.
So you can...
Yeah, you can go move on. And what's this here? What is
this we were working, that was a shot for Specialized. And that's
Is
actually,
this
you can
Victoria?
stop. Yeah, you can stop there on
hold it.
Candace. Yeah, stop there. We were in Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
We got permits and permission to shoot in the state parks, to shoot that shot. And that was actually a crazy shoot. In Tahoe, there's a lot of ferrous magnetic rock. Drones freak out around.
Wow. Now there's something I would have never thought about. The geology affects the drones.
Oh yeah.
Which type of mineral it is.
Yeah. And
incredible.
And that's actually a part of our Scout. Scout being one of the most important bits for a drone team, but it's the first to get axed. We do digital scouts, which we don't charge for, which is kind of Google Earthing.
Yeah.
If they don't pay for it, I still have to do it. It's the most important time for me to spend in that.
You can't afford to go out there blind.
So we do RF interference kind of scouting.
How do you handle that? The RF interference.
We bring an analyzer and see what's happening.
Yeah.
Are we going to get smashed or aren't we?
And still, you don't know from day to day what's going to be the situation. Am I correct?
Correct.
Or?
I mean, shoot downtown LA. We know what to expect.
Yeah.
Shooting in unpopulated or unpolluted areas, it's it's a little cleaner. So
Yeah.
pilots are in aviation. They talk about never getting behind the aircraft. The pilot never wants to go, why is that happening?
Yeah. Yes.
The pilot wants to be always ahead, and same with a drone pilot
Yeah.
as well. I'm always thinking well ahead, kind of
where you're
splitting,
at.
mind splitting, focused on the shot, but also thinking, where can I put this down?
Yeah. Yeah.
Safety, safety, safety.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is this part? What is this little piece that we're looking at?
This was
here?
actually back to Victoria's Secret. So after we had 10 days. You can pause there. We had 10 days to shoot. At the end of all of that time there, we only were given 6 minutes
Oh my God.
with
the model?
with Candace Swanpole, who's one of the
Oh
bigger
my gosh.
Victoria's Secret angels.
6 minutes.
6 minutes. So it was one of the most high pressure moments we had, because not only did we have to fly danger close, not only danger close in front, but also hovering over.
And by danger close, that's a term you use for.
I use it. The closest we'll fly is 10 feet.
Okay.
We can always put another lens on to kind of feel it, but
Yeah.
10 feet gives me a fraction of a second to do something
Abort or whatever you have to do.
appropriate to avoid the risk. But I want production to always be on more alert than I may be,
Right.
because any lax can be a detriment to what I'm doing. And I'll just throw a quick thing out there. And it's actually a part of the reel. We had a great shot. Everybody was super excited. The drone was coming to land, and the director was so excited, he literally jumped around and started dancing. But he did it right in my landing area. And unbeknownst to him, fortunately we didn't crash it, but I had to put it down super hard and quick.
Ooh.
And I always tell this story, to production. Hey, no matter how excited you get,
Yeah.
no cartwheels.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I go, look, it's happened.
Yeah.
You're excited. You're in your world. I get it.
Yeah.
But this is.
There's a dangerous piece of equipment flying around above your head.
Right. We must understand what this element is.
Right.
It's 40 pounds of Ginsu knives.
Yeah.
Just coming out. So
40 pounds of Ginsu knives. Yeah.
So
that's gonna hurt.
So
that's gonna hurt.
So here we are. I have the EP of done and dusted on my left ear, chirping. I've got the owner of the Limited on my right shoulder, not only chirping, but kind of directing me away from the shot. So it's, do you follow the guy,
Wow.
the owner, or are you following? So much happening, and of course, we weren't given the appropriate amount of time.
Of course not. Yeah. Yeah.
This is a close-up. No, it's not a close-up. It's a fast move. So let me adjust my camera remote to be prepared for this shot.
Yeah.
We do a lot of adjustments with our equipment to entertain the shot, and that's
Yeah.
why shot discussions is super specific and super important to us as a team. You can roll on this too. This we were shooting for GE here. That was just a quick. This is Monterey Bay.
Okay. Beautiful.
Working on some expensive Big Sur real estate, some more coastal. We have a lot of coastal because that's where we live.
No, exactly.
This Demi Lovato's driving in that Porsche. We
Okay.
had to capture with the celebrity talent. I actually stopped here too. With Demi, we were given one take. Frequently, the drone gets one take. I don't know why they expect us to be so brilliant, but
Yeah.
I go, you know what? No rehearsal.
Yeah. No
God,
rehearsal. Just get it.
We have. Anytime there's more than one moving thing in the shot, it complicates it by 100.
Okay.
So you want the drone to fly, the camera to pan, and talent to walk. So this is not as easy as you think it will be.
Yeah.
That kind of.
Just getting those logistics down, and then no rehearsal.
Right.
So
And
now it's
right.
just like
Then no rehearsal.
depending on
Yeah.
everything going perfectly
Sure.
the first time.
Yeah, and then they'll bid, and then of course there's.
They
if you
pay
don't-
for that, I'm sure. You know what I mean? In the sense that they don't get what they want, they may have to do it again anyway, right?
I spend a lot of time I talk about all these elements so that when if nothing is a surprise, so there is no getting thrown under the bus. I have a paper trail this long.
Yeah.
Why do you ask? You're complicating it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's actually simplifying
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But
You know, I really like what you said right there too, because I sort of operate that same way. I always ask for an email whenever we have a phone discussion. I always ask for some documentation about what you want, and I say this will help me, record it and have it there on file when I'm there. But it's all about documentation because I personally, if you're going to throw me in the bus, yeah, go ahead. At this point in my career, you know what I mean. It's just, oh, that's the 2:30 right on time, But I want everybody to know that I'm doing my job and I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to make it better for you, just like yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you do want that. So what was this here?
So this actually was a shot, and I have to say that it was a shot prior to the prohibition and temporary flight restrictions that the FAA has imposed on Major League Baseball.
Okay.
We were working for the San Francisco Giants at this point. We were the company to do the first live aerial broadcast of a Major League Baseball game.
Oh, wow.
So we flew every inning break.
Oh, wow.
So the minute the break happened, we would go up. They would live feed to Scoreboard, and then to NBC as well.
Oh, how cool! How great!
And you can play that
let's
there.
go ahead.
So back to Victoria's Secret and live event.
In the Bay Area, right there.
Yeah, more Bay. It's like I say.
And these are just sales shots right here, really. What you're doing is showing the client, here's what we do, here's what you can get. You're not getting too specific, I don't think.
You can't be afraid to be where you're at.
Yeah.
Actually, stop here. This is a cool one. We were working with a group of Maasai warrior in Africa, and logistics, once again, travel, carnet, the whole 9 yard had to be in place to engage in this.
How many cases did you travel with over there?
Actually, we weren't that big. The drone was smaller than the camera was small. We were only shooting on, I think, a GH4 at that time.
Okay.
But I think we traveled with 4 Pelicans.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
I would have expected a much bigger number.
Drone in one, gimbal in another, and batteries.
Compact. Yeah,
batteries
that's
back
great. That's
So
great.
you can keep cruising on this. More. Here's
And you know what? Let me just hold it right there. But you told us a funny story about the Maasai warriors. The sound, the audio.
Oh yeah. An aside was we wanted to use their warrior chant for that bit of footage, and I found their warrior chant, but it was recorded by a musicologist, but it was on CD Baby, and of course I downloaded the musicologist version of their song, put it to the video, and Vimeo pulled the video because it wasn't
the Maasai warriors that you're
right.
showing.
Maasai wasn't getting the money, but so in any event, that's
Yeah.
one. This is just some more kind of luxury property shots. We were down in Cabo for this.
Okay.
Traveling with drones is difficult. This shot is pretty cool because it's a VFX plate. We've been starting to do a little bit more work with VFX. I think drones and VFX is going to start happening much more. It's already happening, but now there's technology that's going to allow us to do it even better. You can continue the roll on that. Continuation of that.
There's a.
And this shot, we were doing a flat out low pass backwards on that shot. This shot actually is done with a helicopter. And we put it in there because, and I want not every job that is asked for a drone is a drone shot.
Yeah.
And it's something really important to know. You don't want to shove drone down people's gullets when the best way to get the solution and the shot is another way. Oftentimes you'll hear people only talking about what they have available.
Yeah.
And that's a bummer for a producer.
Yeah. You know what? I think is this this is the end of
That's
this.
the end.
Right?
Yeah, we can jump to the light stuff.
Yeah, let's go to the lighting stuff because we just have a few minutes left, and I want to definitely
Yeah.
take a look at that and just give us a narration on what we're seeing. We'll run it through.
Yeah, sure.
But you just narrate through it for us.
We were approached by a production company to work on a practical lighting effect for a sci-fi piece, and we knew we needed the most high-powered LED lights avail.
And what did you use?
So I partnered with a company that was actually based down in Monterey near me called Light in Motion.
Okay.
They started in the underwater scuba lighting world and graduated into these high-powered mountain biking lights and what have you, and now they pushed into cinema. They have an amazing a Cree panel LED. It's a 10,000 lumen light. And so what I was able to do,
you can roll through this.
yeah,
Sean,
I think these are just some stills.
Oh, just some stills.
Yeah,
I see.
and then the
Oh, I
reel's only about a
see.
minute.
Okay, gotcha.
But I needed the lightest weight, highest powered LED light out there.
Yeah.
And this was the only company that had the light. There were other companies like Sputnik that had, high-powered lumen lights, but they were weighing 5 pounds each.
Yeah.
This light weighs 750 grams.
Wow.
So 750 grams with a 25-degree Fresnel lens on the front.
Wow.
And
Now, did that tap into the power of the drone?
No, actually, I have a particular philosophy of never crossing systems. So I never want to pull power from my flight system to an auxiliary system. So I use a separate LiPo battery to power the lights
Wow, look at
themselves.
these effects. Look at that effect.
Many light designers, especially in event, talk about lighting the 3D space.
Yeah.
My puppetry background, and I spent a lot of time doing shadow puppetry as well. This is that moment being realized. And what we discovered here, especially when this kind of shot, was we're not painting with light, we're painting with shadow. And I want that, to me, is some of the exploration. It's kind of flipping it on its head. The shadow is the light is the shadow. But creatively, I think it will lead to more open doors.
Yeah.
So when we did this test, we were only at 20,000 lumens. Eventually, we did get, now we're at 30,000 lumens. We're able to shoot on Red Dragon at a 700 ISO.
Wow. So you can bring a Dragon up there now. You can.
We can on our rigs we can fly Alexa Mini, Red Dragons.
Okay.
We fly AK Heliums up there as well. But the difficult part was having enough light for our cinema cameras. The A7S was amazing, with 20,000 lumens, but it wasn't good enough for the Red. But the minute we put that extra 10,000 lumen on, everything changed.
Done.
And so now there is a complete solution with 360-degree flying remote head that not only can move lights but can change angles and perspectives. And what that does is create shadow play. And I think it's something that will be being pushed hard in 2018. There's a little blurb in this month's ICG magazine about this lighting partnership. And the Guild has been talking about aerial lighting platforms for 2018. And as an aside, we think that gaffers will start to employ these solutions to roughen lights.
Yeah.
We can get a drone up with this light and place it in position in a number of minutes, fraction of the cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No kidding. Wow. Matthew, that is so awesome. How can people get a hold of you?
You can visit us at our website at aerography.net, aerography.net, and our contact information is all on there.
Awesome, awesome. Boy, thank you so much for coming down. I really appreciate you doing the show. It's fascinating. Next time you come down, we'll get some B-roll out in the some stuff, and you can maybe walk through your setup process,
sure.
your procedures, and all that. But
Love to.
Matthew Lavin.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome, dude.
All right.
And we'll see you next week on Burnie's Applebox.
Cut. That's a wrap.